analysing public media's impact on attitudes towards inclusion through the novel Out of My Mind by Sharon M Draper. Out of My Mind is a novel about Melody, who is a fifth grader with a photographic memory. Throughout the novel, it is suggested that she is the smartest student in her school, but nobody knows it. Most people dismiss her as mentally challenged because she can't tell them otherwise, but Melody refuses to be defined by her disability, cerebral palsy. Sharon M Draper is an American educator, author, public speaker, and a mother to a daughter with a disability. In 2017, she stated that she wrote that book because you needed that book. You needed to know that there are kids like Melody. They are real people. Author bias is a common issue when authors are writing about people with disabilities. Through Draper's own experience, her bias was a positive drive to write this book. She states, Melody is a tribute to all the parents of disabled kids who struggle, to all those caregivers who help every step of the way. It's also written for people who look away, who pretend they don't see, or who don't know what to say when they encounter someone who faces life with obvious differences. As disability is a main theme within this novel, it is important to understand what disability is. In Australia, the Disability Discrimination Act 1992 defines disability in relation to Melody as total or partial loss of the person's bodily or mental functions. The language Melody uses to describe her own disability gives great insight into what it is like to live with a disability. Quotes like, I can't talk, I can't walk, I can't feed myself or take myself to the bathroom, big bummer, show her understanding of her disability and attitudes towards other people understanding her. Everybody uses words to express themselves, except me, and I bet most people don't realise the real power of words, but I do. And it actually sort of surprised me that I couldn't do stuff, and it made me angry. Highlights the subsequent barriers she faces. Melody faces many barriers throughout the novel. These affect her well-being and her access to education. They are communication, independence, social interaction and embarrassment, and practicality versus dignity, self-worth, and identity. Throughout the book, the use of stereotypes enhance the plot. Draper uses disabilities that are commonly portrayed in the media to allow the readers to identify common impairments without distracting from the main plot. These disabilities are seen through Melody's descriptions of her H5 classmates. Draper's novel actually explores stereotypes of the education system in America and society as a whole. The stereotypes used are school bullies, teachers of varying skill levels, doctors, and the misconception of Melody's intelligence. The media is also portrayed to downgrade her peers' achievements and suggest that she is the sole reason her quiz team did so well. This attitude also leads many people to use Melody as a teaching or learning opportunity rather than just see her as a person. According to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, in 2015 there were over 336,000 students with disabilities attending school in Australia. Due to these numbers, it is obvious why Draper said I wanted her to be accepted as a character and as a person, not as a representative for people with disabilities. Through Melody's own voice, she does this. Melody's inner thoughts are captured throughout the book. Her thoughts regarding her discovery of other languages on her communication device sum up her expanding understanding of disability. I stop for a minute and stare at the board. It has never occurred to me that there are kids like me in Germany and China and France who need a machine to help them talk. Social exclusion describes a state in which individuals are unable to participate fully in economic, social, political, and cultural life, as well as the process leading to and sustaining such a state. Within this novel, you can understand that there are 3 reasons for her exclusion: unintentional actions, uninformed practices, and intentional actions and situations. This book promotes inclusion in a number of ways. For those who have not engaged with students with disabilities or inclusion classes, it shows the number of benefits they do have. Studies show that inclusive classrooms benefit not only the students with disabilities, but also the rest of the students in the class and the teaching staff. A study in Indiana found that students without disabilities educated in inclusive settings made significantly greater academic progress in mathematics and reading. With any book, there are some inaccuracies and negative impacts. This novel does contain some exaggerated characters used to emphasize plot points or hardships faced by the central characters. To accompany this, many of the inappropriate actions of students and teachers and parents do not receive a consequence for their behaviour, which is unrealistic in today's society. Melody's own photographic memory could be considered to have a negative impact as it could lead to future audiences overestimating the abilities of students with disabilities or underestimating their hardships.